prototype in my hand. And this is kind of where it's really fun is that we do know some of our products are going to take 3+ months to execute on, right? When you're thinking about like deep physical collectibles, getting a toy mold, getting a toy model design, then getting it as a mold, and then running it through a production line. Those are things that could take 3 to 4 months, right? Very easily, right? In this world. And Torch, it's kind of in a funny way. Inception is actually a small influence to how these like small totems work, right? It is something that should be personal and direct to you, and something that values your connection with your corrupt character too. So we'll have some fun with it. We have some amazing, talented people in our network, and that's the other thing that you want to understand here, right? Is that although I'm currently a lot of the face of the language here on behalf of Ether at the moment right now, it's not my intention to be the only face. My intention here is to cover the gaps that are in this organization to give you guys that confidence long term, right? And this is where we do want to be able to get guys like not only V, but you'll see Drew also be on these stages here shortly, and a few other team members as we start working with the creators funds. We want to show you the best that Ether has to offer, and that's going to be in multitudes of ways. And the best part about here as well, right, is that we're going to be able to unlock, right, these product experiences with you guys very quickly in very accelerated places. And of course, be able to deliver you unexpected delight. And this is going to be the beauty of this product experience is unexpected delight is what Ether is really going to be great at, right? Unexpected delight, right? While still giving you an understanding of what we're prioritizing in the roadmap. Everything will still have a wrinkle, but we'll always give you the base infrastructure to understand how we're building, what we're prioritizing, and what we're supporting. And in doing all of this, you're going to see the world of Ether really grow and hopefully become something that is a special as an experience and a community for us to be here. But separately, right, it's really about allowing you guys to become closer to owning this world, right? This is kind of the weird gift that we've been able to receive from V, right? This amazing art, and he actually wants it to be shared with each and every one of you. And I think that's going to be a very powerful product experience. And moreover, it's going to be formed by us, right? What I hope to be able to say is like, I've actually shared this before. This has always been a goal of mine when I got into Web3, is that I was just imagining my favorite IP and what it could have been if we had Web3 technology there from day one. So for me, I was always looking at it from a gaming category. And, of course, one of my favorite gaming category, one of my favorite, games in the gaming category, of course, was, Legend of Zelda, right? And when you look at Zelda as a franchise and, the character Link, it would have been a pretty amazing experience if from day one, when you got into it, you were able to mint your own one-of-one Link. And that Link would be unique to you. It would have, its own unique colors, shield, weapon. It might have, slightly different colored boots, whatever it may be. But it would have been able to connect with you whenever you uploaded your file, were playing with other friends, whatever it may be. But the other great thing is, then that character could have evolved across all the different genres over 30 years, right? It could have gone from pixel art to 2.5D to paper 3D to full 3D. And that could have been such a magical experience of still having the same Link from 30 years ago still be with you along the way. And this is kind of the same thing that I want you to invite you guys to all think about, especially if you're holders, is if you think about your favorite anime, right? One that's already run, whether it be One Piece, right? It doesn't matter. Choose what you want, right? And then try to imagine, how could I have built this or redesigned this to be a more special experience with Web3 technology, right? And with that Web3 technology, what would it have been better to be able to see? Would it have been amazing to connect with other people early on, right? Would it have been amazing to have these one-of-one characters told in the story or inserted into the manga? Would it have been awesome to be able to see physical collectibles that I could earn like a gachapon experience? What are those? That's what we really want to pull out here, right? That's what's going to make this brand differentiated, right? Because in the end, it's the art serves as a foundation, but the art itself is not going to make or break this experience. It's the community and what we build beyond that that is truly going to make or break this experience. And to be honest, this is where I want to learn from you guys. Right? I would say a tier 2 anime fan when I'm thinking about the list. I grew up around it, but I was more Western influenced than Eastern influenced. I still have a significant, like, I'm still watching a bunch of animes. I carry around 4 or 5 different anime books with me at all times now, but I am playing catch up. I'm not born in it. It's not where I am living it day in and day out. So, what I need to do is I need to get that lens from each and every one of you. And that's what you get from me is I'll always keep it real here, right? Because a lot of you are tier ones, right? You are weebs, right? You are otakus, right? Although that may be too negative of a terminology here, but that is what we want, right? And that's kind of what I think is brilliant here is that I'm tapping into a product experience with all of you guys to help level me up. And if you've been in Holder Chat, I've literally been asking you guys, what's your favorite stuff? Right? I've literally been asking you guys, what else do you want? What do you love from story? What do you love from visuals? Shout out to guys like Lychee. Like Lychee literally gave me links to videos, right? He's like, hey, check out this scene, or hey, this is how I think this character could be. I want to keep learning, right, every single time from each and every one of you to be better. But this is the best part is you guys are already there. So what I want to now do is give you the framework of how I build, right? Everything I want to do is I want to give you the framework of how I want to build. And with that, you guys use your experience to be like, this would be a next gen anime brand, a next gen anime experience, right? Because I need to build it for you guys. That's what I'm good at. I'm good at understanding needs of users, responding to it, and prioritizing a product roadmap that meets those expectations, right? But I am not the tier 1 user yet. I'm going to grow to be that tier 1 user, right? I'm like rewatching a lot of my so I'm a little bit old school in generation to you, to a lot of people here. That's also another important thing to understand. I'm 35 years old. My favorite anime inspirations are series like, Cowboy Bebop, right? Like I'm rewatching that. Gundam, of course, played a very large element into that as well. And then, of course, I'm also very much influenced by films, right? And when it comes to films, right, Studio Ghibli, Ghibli, huge influence, right? And then I'm also massively influenced, right, from the Western market. And I've read a lot of graphic novels, right? I'm a huge fan of like Watchmen, V for Vendetta, handful. I mean, old school. As a kid, Calvin and Hobbes, Dilbert, that kind of stuff here as well. So what's kind of beautiful about this, right, is that I know where I stand. I have enough exposure, right? I have Gundam models in my office, right? Like at home, right? Like that's where you get. I'm a huge fan of films like Akira, massive influence for a few products I've built before as well. And my goal now is to play catch up. And my goodness, anime has exploded like no other over the last 5 to 10 years, right? Literally, right? Over the last 5 to 10 years, it's been ridiculous, right? So I now need to see all these sub storylines. I need to go watch as much as I can. I need to read as much as I can. I have like the first 3 One Pieces are some of the books I'm carrying. I got Berserk. I got a few others that others have recommended here as well. And the goal here is to be able for you guys to help me too, right? This is what I want you to understand. This is the ethereal beauty of what we're trying to build. It's a coexisting relationship. right? An ability for you guys to give me significant feedback, right? While also I give you guys significant lens on how to build, right? And what is the largest challenge we have here is that I do have to break a lot of your guys' assumptions on how long it takes to build stuff, right? So I'm going to be keep it very, very clear, right? And very, very real, right? Like we are not building an anime TV series any fucking time soon. I don't know why people think this is going to be the case, but if you know anything about anime, television based series, or films, that shit is expensive as fuck, right? On the low end, it's usually around like $200,000 per minute of airtime. On the high end, it's $1 million, if not more, per minute, right? If you're looking at Disney animation stuff, that stuff literally is hitting close to around 100 to 150 million dollars of production costs for a film, right? And we also know some of those costs. That trailer that Ether built, which is less than right, it's less than a minute. That shit was expensive. Like that shit was not cheap. So you want to understand, right? In order for us to get to anything like that, we need to build a way more compounding brand at that. The other thing that I want to keep clear here is that yes, we believe we can experiment with fashion, but we are not going to get a luxury tier 1 fashion partner anytime soon. First off, these people do not like web3. Like I want to be very clear. They are still super skeptical about web3, right? And if they aren't skeptical about web3, they're most likely going to be doing it themselves. Case in point, look at what Louis Vuitton is doing as they built their own bounded soul-bound trunk, essentially, and it put a lot of money and capital to it, right? But on the flip side, I know how hard it is to convince creative directors at most of these major fashion brands, right? Trying to get guys like at Maison Margiela, Balenciaga, Saint Laurent, Dior, like these guys do not want to even deal with it because it's not a medium that they're in control of, right? Why would a creative director, right, where his brand and reputation is all on the line, risk it, product experience that they themselves do not understand, right? So this is kind of the other important thing you want to recognize is that I know this may have been heralded before in the past, but it's not something, right, that is going to actually be realizable. It doesn't mean that we can't build our dope fashion on our own luxury items, and we're going to show you some cool stuff on that front too. But just make sure you have realistic expectations. And I agree, Rodolfo. If there is a breakout category, it is most likely going to be something around either manga or physical collectibles, right? On the manga front, we have a good understanding how the comic book industry works, and we actually have some really cool plans once we're able to scope a manga with the core characters done. But what I'm also really excited about as well is physical collectibles, and it's more about higher end physical collectibles. So one of the best case in points that we all want to keep an eye on at the moment right now is none other than Pudgy Penguins. Pudgy Penguins is now on pace to do $10 million of sales, right, in less than 7 months. That is a real sustainable business model. That is predictable, that is scalable, that is investable. Shout out to Pudgy Penguins. They are killing it. Luca might be maybe the only real builder in this space where he is getting into a real sustainable business model. I want us to be able to play in similar lenses like that. We don't think we're going to be going after as low of a price point as him. We think we're going to be one tier above, right? So he went at a cost production at $25 for the entire product experience. I expect us to be just one notch above. We'll see when we look at the full production cost, but we think that category is wide open, especially because no one in Web3's done physicals correctly at scale outside G. There's been a lot of promises before. I mean, I'm still waiting on my antonym, right? Which is crazy, right? If you ever remember that product from the last bull, was supposed to be like physical statues. I think it's now been like 18 months and brutal, right? And there's a lot of other product experience that have promised this as well. So we want to make sure we don't get ahead of ourselves and we understand, because again, production pipelines are not an easy thing to solve for, right? It's shipping, global logistics, right? Quality assurance, like like when you want to build something of quality, you have to go through a lot of layers, a lot of checks, a lot of balances to ensure that that product hits expectations, right? The last thing I want to do is send you guys a product that has like a melted face, right? Like that will not meet the standards of what we're trying to do. So this does take time to get it right. But the best advantage is that we've already started conversations. We have two different producers that we can do tests with. One is the producer of other high-end high-end physical anime collectibles. Like that's an actual category that they focus on. And then the other one is actually the Western producer of Bear Bricks, right? So if you're familiar with Bear Bricks as physical collectibles, they're the same ones. They're the same party that do those as well. So we have at least good sources for our partnership opportunities there as well. So we'll see and we'll test out and get quotes from each of them as well and see how fast that we could hit the quality. Anime physical collectibles are quite different. Anime physical collectibles are hyper detailed, right? So that would be really interesting. Right. When I say Bear Bricks, I'm not saying we're partnering with Bear Bricks. I want to be very clear. I'm saying we know the exact producer who makes the Bear Bricks toys. I know a lot of you get way too excited when you hear that stuff. I just want to make sure it is clear on what is going on. We could use the exact same production and manufacturing process as Bear Bricks, right? That's what I want you to come away with. I know you may understand that. I always want to be extra clear because, again, that's the other challenge in Web3, right? It's like, this game of telephone is murder, right? Everyone wants to like it's funny, man. I see it in this. We do one of these sessions and like it just takes 15 minutes for someone to like mishear or take just a fraction of what is said and go put it out in another channel. And it just leads to this hilarious like fake news catastrophe of what we're trying to do. But again, it's part of the market. We're understanding it. We're going to be a lot stronger as we kind of get better and bigger with all of our kind of opportunities here too. So, hopefully this gives you a little bit of lens of where we're going. We have about 10 more minutes. If you guys do have questions, feel free to enter them into the chat. I'll hit as many of the relevant ones here as well. But, really what we're trying to do is inspire, hey, we have an understanding of where we're going. There is short and long-term plays that are coming. And at the same time, right, we're really going to be in a healthy position, right, as we take larger swings, right, that are pretty cool. What do Bear Bricks look like? Here, I'll drop a little Bear Bricks one. They're pretty standard looking. Like, yeah, they're like large Lego kind of style, I guess you can say. But they're well known because they're incredibly collectible, right? Like Bear Bricks and Cause are probably the most well known in that kind of category. Bear Bricks kind of being a more simplistic version of them, I would say, while Cause have like significantly more poses, but they are, Lego style, which is pretty cool. So here, you guys are already adding quite a few photos. Awesome. Yeah. Well, Gouda gave you the right picture there. It's pretty much Kevin that we're trying to do. So as you can see, this is, these are considered some of the best, physical collectibles that have kept a pretty large reign of success. And these are priced fairly high. So, they've done a great job. I'm a big fan of Cause. Cause would be is more my aesthetic between the two. But Bear Bricks are great as well. And that's kind of the beautiful thing here is that we do have these partners in our back pocket to kind of be able to scale this stuff out. So Yeah, more than happy to answer more questions. I see a couple here. I see a couple questions here. Crushies asks, "What are you expecting in Q4 of 2023?" I think it's two things, right? First is solidifying the digital product experience, right? So we call this like right now it's called like a gachapon arcade. There might be a sexier name we introduce behind this, but the biggest thing we really want to be able to get out is the ability for you to earn tokens due to healthy actions in our universe while also being able to use those tokens. This is not an ERC 20. This is a ERC 1155 most likely, right? This is not a shit coin. This is a utility based token and have real utility. And that utility is right now of one of three areas. One is, co-editing or co-creating the PFP to your liking. This is rerolls, burns, and potential new traits. The second thing, right, would be to introduce gachapon like games. Wouldn't it be great that there's different gachapons with different rewards that you could put one, two, three, or more tokens into and get different rewards? Rewards being digital primary assets like art, capsules, more PFPs, whitelist, etc. It could also include some rare physical items as well too. It include all of those within that, which will be pretty great. The third area that we'll also have is just a straight storefront. This is going to be more for those of you who are in the whale categories, because if you are doing healthy actions as a whale, you should be able to stack tokens. You do not want to risk it on gachapon games. You just want to be able to go to a storefront with limited items and buy shit. Cool. And there'll be crazy whale items in there as well, right? And that's the fun part, is that we're going to give you balance accordingly as you want. And we're going to use this as distribution, right? Imagine you could only get the toys through the gachapon system or the storefront system, right? It becomes a reward for holding your assets as well, which could be pretty popular. And similarly, right? What if we were able to do exclusive, limited edition art from V, right? Like, or art from other strategic partners that we really people don't realize. I mean, you guys might realize, but people externally don't realize like this from Ether being cheap. Like this is tier one art being done by a tier one artist that isn't V, right? This stuff is crazy good stuff. Sorry, I'm uploading it right now. And when you look at this, you'll actually quickly realize, like, couldn't all of this been beautiful edition based art? And say that there are only 100 or 200 of these editions for each ones of these colors, right? A different one of Hachi, one of these capsules. These easily could have been edition based art, and I would have loved these in my wallet. I would have absolutely loved this. This capsule thing is still one of the most. I don't even know how it connects to our world anymore, outside of the fact that I'm going to build the entire gachapon system inspired, right, by this character inside of it. And this is the thing that we have a very unique advantage on, is that in PFP, art historically has not been valued because, to be honest, most of the art has been trash. But if you actually want to look at the one category of digital that has been sustaining well in a bear fucking market, it's generative and collectible art. Like one of one art and generative art is doing incredibly well. Like even the floors of Fidenzas, Squiggles, etc., are going to be killer in this marketplace, right? And this is where we could do some really cool things. And I agree, Rodolfo, right? Is like if we get to the point where physicals make sense for mass market, doing RFID or any similar QR based kind of redemptions are very easy to actually add in, right? And then you could have not only transfer, but the other cool thing is you could have digital assets. Imagine ether cards, right? That are actual playable trading cards, right? There's going to be a lot of other cool ways that we can build this to get when we actually have established ourselves, right? We're just now in the establishment phase. What are we trying to do? We're trying to prove that Web3 collectors want to be part of this world. We already have an amazing anchor. Like I'm telling you, even though the floor price doesn't show this yet right now, I'm telling you, this is only one inflection phase away from this thing starting to like snowball in a positive effect for this entity. It's not that far. We are looking hyper, like we're hyper detailed about our data. We know what is going on, and the quality of this community and the quality of this holder base is strong. It's still generally thin. There's some thickness here because again, ether is going through an evolution of our storytelling, and in a bear market it's incredibly impatient. But if we stay focused, if we legitimately stay focused, right, and build build for the next 6 to 9 months and make it to the next bull, whenever that may be. It doesn't even have to be needs to be a non-shitty declining bear, right? Just avoid that. Because we've just been in a shit decline for 12 months. Honestly, like 15, 16 months, right? It's been rough since the other side been, right? We just need this market to kind of bottom out and have a little bit of sustainable support for new re-entry and some of those new wallets to come back, right? And that's kind of the nice thing here, right? Is that we can actually then build. And agree, Noza, we could be sideways. I don't think for 10 years. That's not the right way of looking at it. But we could absolutely be sideways for 2+ years, right? It could take that long. And again, the next bull isn't going to be the bull that's bigger, to be very honest. The next bull just gets us back to a healthy recovery state. If you're really looking for what I believe will be the catapult of Web3 brands truly breaking through, that is 2 bulls away to be realistic, right? It doesn't mean that you can't build tons of value with sustainable cap supplies, but it does mean that it is going to take significant time for us to really see this market develop in a healthy way. But the great thing is we don't need a roaring bull to make this all 100% better. What we really just need is sustainability, right? Sustainability is all we really need in this market, right? And I think that's where it's going to get way stronger and way better here as well. And yeah, exactly, right? Your unique wallets that have dropped off, we just need to re-bring these wallets back. This is actually the opportunity here right now. That's what the next bull is going to bring back, right? 70 to 80%, right? And this is kind of like the biggest thing here in this market and this strategy. And this is kind of where we'll have an opportunity to get this right over time, right? And that's going to be a challenge. And this is the challenge for everyone here in this market. Everyone here in this market, it is going to take a significant time for us to establish the IP, scale the IP, and build something significantly stronger. And if we can do that, we're going to be in a much, much healthier position. And this is what we're hoping that Ether can be. We have the conviction that there are multiple bulls and multiple opportunities behind the world of Web3 and digital collectibles. The only reason I'm here, right? Anyone who doesn't believe that is a short-term trader. And most people are short-term traders in this marketplace, right? But this is game-changing technology. And we believe this game-changing technology will create game-changing product experiences that will be undeniably stronger than the rest of what Web 2 has to offer. It's literally the only reason I'm here. I intrinsically believe in that, and I intrinsically believe that it can be a sustainable model for a very, very long time. And again, it doesn't mean that it's going to be initially healthy, right, overnight. It's going to take some time. But this is kind of where this is going to be and where the opportunity is going to scale. Is that, again, the new way of building IP is going to be through Web3. I'm convinced of that. I believe in that. I believe in the power of bringing community in from day one. We now need to build a healthy relationship and a recipe to do it. And it means that we also need to be able to answer all of your questions. I mean, again, I know Ether is far away from the heights that we all see, but the fact that you are talking to a day to day business operator right now, having an hour of his time, being able to answer your direct questions while the IP is being formed and giving you insight on how the IP is being formed is a magical thing. It is. And that's true for like Luca at Pudgy, any of your other favorite founders. That is amazing. That is a game changing way of how to build. And with that, not only do we want to be able to have these conversations, we need to now give you ammunition and proof in what we're building. And it's only been a couple of weeks, right? And like I said, we are starting very, very light. But again, long term, our goal is to build some really, really big things here. Crushy asked, do you guys have a strategy like market to captivate the Web2 market? Honestly, it's not even worth about thinking about the Web2 market right now, right? Like Web2 market isn't the goal. The goal is, can you generate revenue models that at least connect to the Web3 market that is here? And the real reason for that is that Web2 revenue is unlikely unless it's going to be in one of the categories we already defined early in this chat. It would be either physical collectibles or manga or fashion. I put fashion less likely. I put that in a tier 2 category, to be honest, because building a categorical fashion brand on its own is very difficult without like significant IP leverage. And the art IP leverage of Ether doesn't really come over into fashion as strongly as it would in physical collectibles and manga. So we do believe those would be the entry points. But again, trying to over optimize for Web 2 this early is a foolish thing. Anyone who tells you they have that strategy that isn't named Luca doesn't have a fucking clue what they're doing, right? I believe we're going to put out great tests. I believe we're going to find something that works along the way, but I cannot tell you exactly what it will be. No good operator can do that in this space. And this is kind of be where you're going to have a huge kind of structure and strategy that scales up. Yeah, well, there's not just one date for the snapshot. These will be recurring snapshots. I'm not worried about that at the moment right now. The truth is yes, we do want to put out a snapshot date. I don't disagree with you on that front here as well. But the biggest thing we recognize is that we want to do the snapshot after this unlock. So as this unlock clears up, right, you're going to be able to get and be a part of that world and that experience here as well, to be able to unlock and get those snapshots coming in. High level, we have already teased that we will be using snapshots in lieu of giving you guys tokens prior to the full launch of the gotcha arcade, I guess you could call it, right? So at a very high level, we are going to give you incentives for unlisting, right, your ethers and getting rewards for that, and you'll also receive rewards if you want to use your ether as a PFP on Twitter, on an active Twitter as well, right? So there'll be some slight conditions to be able to earn for that. So we're gonna have both of those coming in. I believe if all goes well, PFP staking will probably be unlocked a week from today, or PFP reward, let's call it. I hate the term staking because staking is such a poisoned word, right? Because everyone has their own version of what staking should be. So there is a PFP reward structure, right? And then there will be a unlisting, right, or delisting reward structure, right? And it's just simple. It's that, this is like kind of, old school, hey, if you're delisted, you're getting, rewards, yeah. But it's much more complex than that to the long-term system. We believe those who are long-term holders, you are going to start a streak of unlisted time. And what we've seen is that there's also going to be a retroactive snapshot as well. For those of you who have kept your ether in the same wallet, since mint, there will be another like small positive attribution for that as well. We are doing our best to be able to get all of this stuff up going, right, that you could have your upside accordingly from that. And of course, you could have one ether. We love all of our ethers. Just because we're giving rewards to whales doesn't mean that we don't value all you solo ether. I love you guys just as much, right? Like, yo, straight up, find that ether that you connect with, right? Because in the end, the product experience is actually built more towards you, right? Because once you fall in love with your ether, I want to bring that character to life, right? And this is kind of the nice little thing here is that as we figure out some of these rewards, and again, I want you to understand we're introducing you frameworks. You guys are very quick to like trying to ask hard questions right out the gate. Again, I don't want to give you hard answers yet until I look through every edge case here as well, right? And that's kind of the beautiful thing here is that we're being thoughtful in our design. We're trying to make sure we understand how people move certain things. Can this work with Ledger? Like we're trying to figure out every edge case, and we're not going to be perfect, right? But we are going to find ways to give you these rewards and be better at rewarding loyalty over time, right? Which is great. Cesar says, if you reveal a capsule you had for a while, would that restart the delisted counter for the avatar, or would it carry over? Great question. We're hoping that they all carry over. The nice thing is the number is what matters. And the great thing is the capsule you pop, right, or open is the same number as the PFP you get. So that makes it a lot easier for us to manage that tracking. But again, that is one of the considerations we have to get right. This is why I'm trying to tell you is that everyone's like, oh, just go build a staking system. Yo, building a staking system with data that is already out and different expectations is 10x harder than building a staking system from day one that we're all aligned on, right? It's all these edge cases here as well that we need to make sure that we are getting solutions for. So this market, I know you guys you believe that people should evolve product on a weekly basis. No one works like that, right? We're going to move fast. We're going to communicate with you guys here on a weekly basis, right? And we're going to show you progress on monthly basis, right? There's going to be different products unlocking over time. And if we do that, right, the value of this world is going to get way stronger and way, way, way more aligned. So with that, I think hopefully I answered most of your questions. I don't think I missed anything else that was shared. Like I said, I'll hit almost every question head on, right? So just know that, if you are a part of this, we're going to keep giving you guys more answers, more direct feedback on where we're kind of building. For all of you who've been participating here as well, you should have all received an Ethereal Beauty 003. It looks like all of them have now been applied, which is great. So as long as you were here as of 15 minutes ago, you should be good to go. So with that, we are now going to wrap up. As a heads up, we are going to figure out a new date for holder chat. As we do want to hit different time zones. I hope this chat at this time for Ethereal Beauty will maintain, mainly because this does look like this does look like a good time slot for all like communities. It's a little late for Asia, I know that. It is, but and it is a little early for West Coast, but it kind of fills in everyone else in between. So this is kind of the best time slot. I think the only people I really screw over is Hawaii. So sorry for Hawaii peeps. That has been that's like the only spot that Hawaii and Alaska, right? But who cares? Those are two states. We don't really care about them right now. So with that, we'll make sure that the next holder chat will be in a different time zone so that we could get you guys more access as well. So with that all, I'm going to let you all go. Appreciate it. If you have any other questions, feel free to hop in the holder chat. We'll open up whale chat here over the weekend, and we'll keep the shit going, and we'll show you some leaks and stuff like that of what's being built here as well. And we'll also introduce you to more of the team members here shortly as well. Like, again, we're onboarding people. Like, this is a real fucking company. We ain't doing shit. We're not doing we're not just doing shitty little games. We're trying to build something sustainable. So I hope you guys give us a little bit of the leeway and the credit in what we're doing. With that all, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll chat soon. Bye-bye now.